Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Good morning, happy Sunday, besties. It's Behind the Shade, and we gotta talk love and marriage, Huntsville, honey. Now the seasons and the episodes are confusing. First, it said it was season 10, episode 20. Now it's saying season 11, episode 4. Carlos, what is going on? And don't blame it on. Take some accountability for what you're doing over there, okay? Child. And is Ken on some kind of tour, some kind of campaign? Because he feel like he got to tell everybody in Huntsville that he has his own apartment now. I mean, all he needs to do is tell Nell. 2 weeks ago, he told Martell and Chris. Now he done told what Maurice, Martell, Marceau, what's the Will? Like he telling everybody. I mean, goodness. Okay, we get it. We get it. So the episode begins. You know, Marceau, Tisha, Kimmy, and Maurice, they are walking down the streets of Pontiac, going down memory lane. The men stop at a frosty treat spot, and this is a place where when they would do plumbing with their father, he would bring them there for treats. So they're having a moment, you know. So they sit down, they talk about their dad since they brought it up. And so Kimmy is just like going through the conversation that her and Tisha had with him, and and talk about how he raised them. So Marceau says, our dad worked so much. And he would tell his dad, you work too much. And his dad said, well, I had 8 kids and a wife at 26 years old. And it's like, well, bruh, no birth control, huh? No. Pull-out game is weak. So anyway, Tisha brings up how you do need to have a healthy work-life balance. And Marceau, is he there yet? I remember, Marceau is just like his dad, workaholic. So Maurice knows that their dad may have had regrets, in the past. Regret is still. You can tell because that expression on his face said it all. Was that last week? Yes, last week's episode. So Marcel is like, my daddy did a good job raising us, and him working a lot. It is what it is. So Kimmy thinks like they were really heavy on loving on Uncle Rick, even though they were at Uncle Rick's place and they big up Uncle Rick. Uncle Rick seems like he filled in the void where the daddy didn't. They look up to him. It takes a village to raise kids, especially when you got 8. We don't know how many kids Uncle Rick has, but he seems like he was good. Now, I'm not sure if Uncle Rick is brothers with their dad or is he the brother to the mother? We don't know. But we do know that Pops, whose name is Mark, he was in his feelings. He feeling some kind of way. He's disguising it because he's been doing that all his life, but he is feeling some kind of way. Kimmy tells them that, she can tell that Pops is feeling away because he is not the main focus of this trip. Uncle Rick is. And so Kimmy thinks that Pops needs to hear some acknowledgement. They need to love on him a little bit. So Maurice and Marceau, you said, they both said they look up to their dad. He's their superhero. And it's kind of given, well, huh? Because in therapy, Maurice, you were saying how your daddy was locking the refrigerator up because you was eating up all the food. And at the same time, Mauricio talking about he think he got a few too many whoopings. Like what? He a superhero. He went to jail. Okay. It's given like, trauma bonding, covering up, put the Band-Aid over the wound. Let's keep it moving. We're men. We don't address things. So it just sounds like some childhood trauma, some trauma bonding to me, and we're gonna cover up for Pops because we're not gonna get on this TV here and tell and air out our business because I think we've said enough. So we'll go with it. Okay, he's your superhero. Go, okay, cool. And here go Maurice. I wouldn't change a thing. I love my life. Okay. Now, and you said it so much, I don't even believe you anymore. Because when you got to repeat it over and over and over and over, who are you trying to convince? Yourself? Okay. So, but they do admit, Maurice does admit that Pops probably feels some guilt. And that's probably what he shared with the girls. So, here we go. Next, we got Ken and Trisha. They are at her house outside. He's working on his truck. They discussed their recent therapy session. They both got Ken got mad at Dr. Francis when he brought up talking about the kids and how their arguing is affecting the children. What are you mad about? Why are you mad? Because you feel like the kids are not involved and they're not tired of y'all? You don't think they're gonna have a negative reaction to all this rah-rah that's going on in the house? They already got their daddy and their mama to deal with, and now here you come. And you don't feel like you are piling on to these children emotionally incorrectly because you paid for stuff, because you bought one of them a car and you pay for dance classes. Boy, those kids gonna need to be with Dr. Francis in a minute. They're gonna be next on the couch, and that's not a bad idea. Thank you, Behind the Shade. You're welcome. Them kids need to go to therapy too. Yes, they do, and I want to see it on my television screen. Yes, I do, because Ken and Trisha, you guys are delusional as all get out. Okay, so they discuss their arguing patterns. Ken says, when we argue, we hit below the belt. He says that Trish turns into a whole nother person when they don't agree. And then he says that, disagreements shouldn't be allowed to mistreat each other. We should not let our disagreements, we should not be able to mistreat each other because we're disagreeing. I totally get that. And I understand. I overstand that. So Trisha says she's apologizing now because she never does that. I'm like, girl, that's why your marriage failed. Well, that ain't why, but that's a part of it. Trisha, how you gonna be in a relationship and don't feel like you need to apologize for anything? A lot about relationships is compromising, is saying things out of context, is misunderstanding people. Why don't you want to correct the mistakes? That's what an apology does. What is happening? And you are sitting here like flexing about that. Well, baby, it's not a flex that you don't know how to apologize and you don't apologize. Whew. Then she brings up that Tisha said someone, said Ken was in their DMs. And so first he was like, what? Huh? I do what? So then he admits that he is in the DMs again. He said, but it ain't no big deal. It might be a big deal to you, but it's really not a big deal. Saying like, I'm not doing much. So what that means is he ain't went on no dates with nobody. He probably hasn't exchanged phone numbers. Because, he is in love with Trisha, but he lonely. He seems like he don't like being alone. Like he just got to be bothering somebody. So Trish asked him, well, why did you respond to him? And I said, what? Did you read the DMs? Are you assuming that he is not reaching out to anyone? You just think his DMs are full of people. Yeah, I get that the fans that are watching the show hollered at him because he may be fine to some. Body on fleek on fleek. Did I bring back a throwback? Yeah, body on fleek. But you're assuming that he hasn't reached out to anyone first? Oh, but that's how he got you. Wasn't he commenting on your post? Oh gosh. I know he probably got a heck of DMs. But you get them how you lose them, Trish. This is how you got them. You know how this go. Don't assume that he just responding to people. You have to know that he is reaching out too. And why don't you ask, okay, besties, what do you think about this? I kind of feel like ask him for the DMs just so you can see where is his mindset at. Was he just chopping it up, just telling somebody that they're cute or he liked their hair, or was he talking about body parts, or is he, reconnected or spinning a block with somebody he used to know, or is he trying to hook up with people and it's just not working out? Like, I kind of would like to kind of know where you going with this. What is your mindset? I mean, they almost broken up anyway. Might as well just add this to it. So let me see what the intent is with these DMs. Are you just flirting, or is it making plans, or talking about relationship stuff, or are you in here talking about me? Because if they're fans, they talking about me, and I want to see what you got to say about me. So then Ken is all into the, well, when I was on the road, you wasn't calling me. It's been months. I feel like, no checkups, no how you doing, no hey. We would go days without talking. I'm like, so you can't text or call Trish? She had you blocked? You couldn't send her email, a telegram, flowers. You couldn't send her flowers to the house. Flowers will get us talking, honey. Yeah, the phone worked both ways, Ken. He said, but in those moments, he felt like she didn't care about him. Oh, gosh. Here we go with the, tell me if you still care, yeah, about me. Shout out to the SOS band, honey. He was like, tell me if you still care. Hey, I don't feel like you cared about. Now it's her fault that he was in somebody's DMs. Oh, Ken. So then he gonna flip it because she ain't tripping off all. She like, whatever. So he says, I'm a family guy. I don't want to be outside in these streets. If I don't marry you, I ain't gonna marry nobody. Huh? Ken, you have no game. Ken, just pay a bill. At this point, just pull your phone out and send her a cash app because you have no game, buddy. What are you even talking about? So she says, well, it's kind of confusing when you try to live here and you living at your apartment too. The whole house is confused. He gonna say, well, if the energy ain't cool, if it's bad in here, and if I feel like it's negative, I'll just leave. And besties, what you think about this? I think, did the courts order for him to move out? This whole move out seems court ordered to me. But in the South, the woman is still married with kids and a minor in the house. I'm really thinking that the courts told him to move because he is so acting like this was his idea. And why he run around telling everybody that he got his own apartment? Child, take us over there. I want to see it. I want to see it. Did you decorate? Are you sleeping on a sleeping bag or a blow up mattress? I want to see it. So, oh God. So he said he want to get back on track, and she wants to work it out because she want to be with him, even though she said he's throwing her trust off with them DMs. I'm like, girl, how you get them is how you lose them, honey. Okay, good. Their part is over. Good. So Maurice And Marcel talking to their dad. They're at Uncle Rick's. He's having like a little celebration for the people who have passed his course, I guess, maybe like a graduation or whatever. And they even spoke to the people. I guess these are, people that are entering the trade of construction, whether they come from, prison, whatever. So they pulled Pops over. Dad acting like he ain't tripping, he's okay. Masking the pain. Masking the pain. Pops, we saw that facial expression you had. We can't unsee it. There was a lot to unpack. You jealous of Uncle Rick and the relationship he has with your boys. You are. So he was like, back then I wanted y'all to be plumbers too, and get into the HVAC. But you took your own path, and I had to get my mind right to accept it. He went through all that. And I'm happy for y'all, pretty much. So Marcel tells Pops that, but you did a good job. You did a heck of a job. Like on a test, out of 100, 98% of it was good. And I think, Pops, you just be focusing on that 2%. And Pop's like, no, we good. It's good. And I'm like, glad that, they acknowledged him, even though he doesn't know how to respond to it properly. But at least they loved on him and he accepted it. Great. Martell drops by Will's barbershop / horror shop. And you could take that and spell it however you want, with a W or with an H. If you caught it, you caught it. And you're probably giggling right now if you caught it. So he over there want to hang out with Will and Kim. And Wicked Barbershop is exactly that. He got a freaky vibe to it, and he got skulls everywhere. He got a bar, he got a stripper pole, and one barber chair. And Martell was like, I was gonna bring my son here to get a haircut. I'm not now. This is a place you can't bring your woman. He was like, hey, I ain't even coming back. It's too much. Listen to who's saying something is too much. Martell, just say you scared. You scared to be in there. That ain't your vibe. Would it seem like the devil's quarters to you? So, of course, they talk about, Martell gonna ask about Trish, to, ask Ken about Trish. And so, I live in my apartment. I got a no Trish zone. I'm like, oh. Martell like, oh, really? He said, yeah. It's where I can get some peace. And so I'm like, Ken is double-minded. Bestie's like, you over here talking about how lonely you are. You don't like being alone. And why can't Trish come over to your house? You always at her house. Is where you can have peace. Is peace what you want? I'm telling y'all, that apartment was court ordered. The judge said, you got to get out of there. Y'all bringing all this havoc and drama to these children. This girl trying to raise. She's still married, for Christ's sake. Let the girl be divorced first. So it's that court ordered. That's my piece on it. That's my take, my opinion. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you guys think, besties. Go ahead. Let's get the conversation going. And don't forget to like, hype, subscribe to the channel, to the video, the channel, and hit the comments. Thank you. Happy Sunday. So he said, Tisha told Trisha that I be in some of these women's DMs. And Martell like, Tisha? Marcel's Tisha? Oh, there she gonna be messy again. She putting her nose in everybody's business. Right. Because the moment you talk about Marcel, honey, she going off. She walking away. She don't want you talking about her marriage. Ain't that what Tisha said? Don't talk about her marriage. And here you are. Even though Ken and Trish are not married, you don't want people in your business. Because, honey, the word on the curb is Marcel be in everybody's DMs too. Still, yeah, today. Uh-huh. Don't start no mess, Tisha. So then Ken is kind of like teasing like what he does on social media. He's like, I just, me, I just keep liking people's stuff. They like my stuff. I like their stuff. That's how him and Trisha got cool. And so Will is like, oh wait, yeah, that's how I am. When I see somebody I like, I'll be like, nice, such and such. And they tease it like, oh, so you say like, which this picture is motivating me. Because Will ain't no good. And he like, let's motivate each other. I said, goodness. And he said, then bam. I'm like, bam, what? Uh-huh. Then you over there, uh-huh. Bang, bang, banging. Okay, enough about that. Destiny meets up with the Scotts. They're still in Pontiac. And they sit down. And so she's like, she feels complete now that she has been in a room with all her siblings except for one. The youngest one wasn't there. His name is Peyton. And you guys, I noticed, Destiny's last name is Peyton. That's her, her maiden name. Wasn't her married name Williams? So anyway, I'm sitting here like, her mama is still sprung on Destiny's father. Remember last week, she brought him up like twice. You and your daddy. You did it for your daddy. So you had another baby and you named him after your baby daddy. Gave him his surname. I was like, ooh, Rhonda is sprung. Still sprung. Okay. So she's happy that all the siblings united with the grandmother. One of her brothers had FaceTimed her. He wants to come visit her. The grandma feels complete now. Then we learn she's Jehovah's Witness. And, seeing her mother was just what it is. Nothing new, nothing different, nothing better, nothing worse. She just told her mother she loves her. And that's what, it is what it is. Okay. So Destiny says she has used her pain, she's masked her pain. And in therapy, she learned that when you mask your pain, you can't feel anything. Like you can't feel love. So she's learning that through her therapy, not to be, cutting people off and just hiding. Maurice said, oh, that's why you feisty. It's like, dude, I know you're trying to make light of the situation, but could you shut up? There you go. Now you call her feisty. She just told you no. Anyway, Maurice, you redeem yourself. So I'm gonna keep going. Marcel say aggressive. He gonna add to it. She said no, assertive. You using the wrong A. Assertive. So then Maurice calls her. Then he thinks about it. After all that she's been through, with her mom and she's like, he said, you're a warrior, because you've been through it. Yes, Maurice, clean it up, homie. So Destiny was happy to have made this trip and happy that she had friends there to support her. And so, I'm happy for her because Destiny bridged a gap with all of her siblings and her family. She has aunts and a grandmother who's been looking for these kids for a long time. She even mentioned how her sister was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm in my aunt's house. Like, it is wonderful to be around people that you share the same blood with, that you look like. Like, nothing is like family, good, bad, or indifferent. Nothing is like being around family. And this was very good, Destiny. So Marceau tells her that she's not transparent because every time he sit down with her, he learns a lot about her. And she was like, well, I don't offer, information, but if you ask, I'll tell you what you want to know, So Maurice, am I done with that? No, I'm not. So wait. So is this when they were sitting down talking? Hold on, y'all, because hold on. There's a part. This is when they were sitting down, right? And Marceau was saying how he's not. Where did I write that down, or was I just watching it? Because I watched the show again this morning, and I caught on. You know how when you watch something again, you catch stuff. I don't think I was writing it down, but child, Marceau talking about I did not write it down, but he was telling, I thought I did. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Sorry, y'all. So Marcel was admitting, sitting right there with his wife, just docile as I don't know what, about, he said he admits that he's not transparent. And, he's like, shoot, I could be dishonest. Yeah, so what are you saying? He said, I could be misleading too. I'm like, goodness gracious. He said, when you get busted, lying is more comfortable. I'm like, Marceau, oh my goodness. Oh, this is what you call playing in somebody's face. And she just sitting there listening. She looking at him, but the brain is just not on. The elevator ain't going up. It's just tug-a-lugging. And it got stopped and trapped in the middle between floors. He just going and going and going. And she is just sitting there like doop-de-doop, doop-de-doop. I was like, oh girl. And I already noticed. I don't know if I told you guys this, but Marceau has made, I guess, the network or Carlos, the production team, they cannot bring up his infidelity. They tiptoe around it, like Martell has touched on it, but they really can't bring that to the TV. And I don't, that's in his contract, child. That's why I don't think it's never gonna be a storyline. I don't know. He's never gonna really get busted on the show. I don't know, but it seemed like it's heading that way. And he plays with that a lot. And if it's true that he has the contract, this is why he can play, because he know that it's never gonna come up in real time. So anyway, whatever, because you know what, it don't even matter, because what Tisha gonna do? Nothing. Nothing. So hold on, y'all. So Maurice meets up with Martell, and Maurice was just looking like, I don't know. Did y'all see how he was looking at Martell? He was just kind of looking like, I don't know. So he was telling him about, going to Detroit, going to Michigan. And so Martell's like, yeah, Desi was telling me you went to see your dad and blah, 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 blah. She, the kid, yeah. So I guess Martell couldn't go because he just couldn't go. He got his contract, his builder's license now, y'all. Oh my goodness. He finally got his builder's license. So, he's telling Maurice, talk to Ken. They got a lot going on, him and Trisha. And so he's like, what's going on? He's like, man, he got his own apartment. And, he don't trust her because she be lying. I'm like, Martell, is that what you heard? Is that what you heard? You heard Ken tell you that Trisha be lying? It's giving that Martell is still hurt behind him and Trish. He resents something about her, and he needs to let it go. So then Maurice gonna say, honey, because Ken, he been posting a lot, honey. He is over there on that Instagram. He thirst trapping. And don't Trisha see that? She don't follow her man on social media no more. She don't see them pictures. So then Martell tells Maurice, he said, yeah, your sister-in-law told Trisha that he be in girls' DMs. Who, Tisha? Duh. We can't talk about your other sister-in-laws. So he like, what? They about to break up. He got one foot out the door. What's going on? And so Martell was like, well, he had a I don't give a darn attitude. So Maurice said, so he leaving her? And they're like, nah, he ain't leaving her. He said he still love her, but he wanted to get herself together. Like if she get right, then he'll get out the DMs. So he's getting attention, the attention that he's not getting from Trish. Maurice is like, they need boundaries. Like, they need to break up. What they need to do. So Martell mentions that he has another house project, which is close to Maurice's restaurant over there on Jordan Place. Martell asked, was Marceau doing a construction over there? Because it was a small job. And he like, yeah, Kimmy's upset about it. I'm upset about it because, fooling with Marceau, it's been 2 years and he hasn't even touched the building. And so Martella's like, why does everything he do take forever and ever? I'm like, exactly. Like, really, like his own house that he been building since season one, Scott Manor, it ain't even done. That one house he was doing, I think that is done. That took a minute. You know, Marceau focuses on big projects, little stuff he don't focus on. And I don't know, did he get that from Pops? No, because I mean, did Uncle Rick teach him to work like that? Maybe Marceau need to take a refresher class with Uncle Rick. Maybe Uncle Rick's graduates need to come help Marceau. Marie, you know what? Marceau should do that. He should do um what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. But the people that graduate from his school, they need to come work with Marceau. Why don't Marceau do that? Have some kind of, oh, y'all, what am I trying to say? Mentorship. You know, it's Sunday, it's early, and I'm ready to go back to sleep. But a mentorship or something. He should do something like that. He should. Oh, but they live in two different states. Never mind. Michigan and Alabama. Okay, whatever. I guess I'll take that back. But he needs to work with somebody that can do something with something. I don't know. So, yeah, it's been 2 years. Marceau ain't even started on the restaurant. And you know, Maurice and them, they have a lady who wants to lease the building, and she's even waiting patiently. But it's like, no, she needs to move on. She needs to move on. Like, why is she waiting on Marceau? Kimmy is upset. Maurice is upset. And yeah, because you know, Kimmy didn't want to use Marceau in the first place. So the last scene, Ken goes to meet with Marceau because he has to tell him what? Guess what? Well, guess what he got to tell him? I have my own apartment. So they meet up at Black. Marceau tells Ken that Trish is broken, and you know, love takes two people, and one person can't do all the work and expect good results. So he tried to coach and mentor and give, you know, Ken all this advice, and Ken looking like, well, me and Trish ain't married. Like, we don't have to work it out if we don't want to. Like, we can part ways. Shoot, I got my own apartment. I'm in DMs, buddy. So Marcel don't think Ken is, you know, that having his own apartment is good for the relationship, because how can you work on it? But I mean, they're not married. So yeah, Marcel needs to just he needs to just give advice to married people, because that doesn't work. This advice doesn't even apply. It's not even applicable to Ken or Trish. But anyway, Ken just gonna listen anyway, because that's not what he here for. He gonna let him talk because he want to tell him, your wife in my business. Okay. And she gonna get murked, I swear. And so Marcel gonna tell Ken that they playing games. You and Trish, y'all playing games. You know, you ain't got that apartment because you want Trisha to chase you. Ken looking like, huh? Child, Ken is still chasing Trish. What are you talking about? So he tells Marcel that Tisha told Trisha that he be in the girls' DMs. And Marcel is like, whoa, wait, what? We don't operate like that. We don't do that. We used to that stuff being done to us, but we don't get in people's business. We don't do that. He was like, that's embarrassing. So he said, I'm gonna need some more context about why she said it, what she meant when she said it, because he is in disbelief that his woman is starting some mess. I said, now, Marceau, that woman just, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm here for it. I want to hear what he gonna tell. I want to hear what she gonna say. But you know, that's what I want to say is, why is the point? I mean, the point is that kid is in the DMs. Trisha, like I said earlier, you need to see proof that he's in the DMs. Let me see your phone. Let me see how you're talking to these people. Are they all fans of the show? Because yeah, that would be nothing, because you can't date women all across the country. But are you starting a conversation? Are you commenting? Are they complimenting you? You just saying thank you? And there was, because even Martell was like, well, who did you DM? And Ken Ken was like, I don't know. She got to tell me who it is. What do you mean she got to tell you who it is? And of course, Martell went on this. She lying because if you tell a small lie, you're gonna tell a big lie. And I'm like, this man is still butthurt about Trisha, and Trisha been lying since she got on this show. So it's not that deep. He said he want to go home, but he's flirting on Instagram. He hollering at women on Instagram. Why is Tisha the focus? Why isn't the crime the focus? You are DMing women. It's not about Tisha telling Trisha. It's about you. It's not a lie. Clearly, it's not a lie. So why are we targeting Tisha, and not targeting you in the DMs? Let's see proof. How are you talking to these people? Is it on the surface? Let her decide if it's a big deal or not. And then y'all can break up. Finally. Well, besties, that was the end of the episode. Next week, we see the Fletchers coming back. Nell and Lance gonna be stirring the pot. Ciao. But I'm here for it. So, besties, like the video. If you're new here, subscribe and like the video. Hype the video. You guys are not hyping. Can you hype? I love the comments. Oh, and besties, let me know. I told you it's summer's coming. I'm not going to be here doing 5 recaps. 4 is my limit. I think I'm going to do Real Housewives of Rhode Island over Birmingham, over the Bill Collector Birmingham, because Carlos has a history of having shows come out and he only does like 1 season. They don't last. Remember the gospel, the Christian gospel kids or whatever, did that get 2 seasons? Well, that didn't last. He tried to do a little R&B with Usher's ex-wife, Tamika Raymond. That didn't last. Didn't he have another show that didn't last? So I think I'm going to leave that Bell Collective alone because I'm not really a big fan of Stormy. I may watch it. I might recap it. It just won't be, if it comes on a Friday, it'll come out like by Monday if I recap it. But I really don't want to do 5 shows. But one of you guys let me know. What are you gonna watch? Bell Collector Birmingham, or are you gonna watch The Real Housewives of Rhode Island? You guys pick. Put it down in the comments. We'll vote, and we'll go from there. I will be back with another recap. It will be Married to Medicine. Tonight is the last part of the reunion. Part 2 is tonight, and I'll be back with that recap. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye, besties.